increase of 10 Ghana cedis, which translates into an increase of about 45%. Yet in this year, 2021, the only increase in the wages and salaries of public sector workers that government has, implemented is a paltry 4%. So how can you be increasing the wages and salaries of public sector workers by 4% while increasing the cost of fuel by over 45%? It is this imbalance that has created the state of excruciating economic hardships that we are here to discuss today. It will be recalled that a gallon of petrol and diesel was sold at about 16 Ghana cedis in December 2016 when the NDC Mahama administration was leaving office. The MPP, led by their then presidential candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and vice presidential candidate Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, lambasted and berated President Mahama for this and promised to scrap some taxes on petroleum products, particularly the energy sector levies and the special petroleum tax, so as to significantly reduce the price of petrol. So they promised to reduce the price of petrol. And when we talk about these things, we are not doing it for the fun of it. We are not engaging in petty politics. What we are doing is that we are holding a government accountable to the standard they held the actual NDC Mahama administration to, and accountable for their promises. And lest we forget, I would like at this stage to refresh our memory and show you some of the things then candidates Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia said about President Mahama relative to fuel prices when they were in opposition. And so, Mr. Screenman, can we see? Okay, so as you can see on the screen, this is a graphic online publication dated 18th May 2015. And if you can scroll up for me to, scroll up. Scroll up. Mahama has no sympathy for Ghanaians. This is Dr. Bawumia. So let nobody accuse Sami Gyamfi and the NDC for doing politics with fuel prices. This is the standard they subjected President Mahama to. Now, can we go to the next slide? Quickly. This was, I believe, a tweet he made sometime in May 2015. And this is what the economic whiskey of the MPP said about fuel prices. I feel really sad this morning for the ordinary Ghanaian, the hard-working people who have to endure the insensitive decision to increase fuel prices at this time. Next slide. Now, this was also a tweet by candidate Akufo-Addo, then in opposition, on the 6th of December 2016, a day to the December 7, 2016 elections. And this is what he had to say. I have seen how drivers, both private and commercial, struggle to pay for the high prices of fuel and insurance premiums. Hashtag vote Akufo-Addo. Next. Then on the 4th of May 2016, candidate Akufo-Addo again said the current depreciation of the Ghana cedis against the US dollar is because of bad leadership. We should not be where we are today to buy a dollar for 3 cedis, 72 pesos. Vote for change. Hashtag change now. Parker, don't laugh. These are very serious issues. Can we see the next slide? Then this was candidate Akufo-Addo again on the 18th of February 2012 on his Twitter handle, saying that the cost of living and the cost of fuel is the highest in Ghana today. Next. Dr. Bawumia again on the 3rd of May 2012 said the prices of basic commodities such as gari, pure water, cement, and prices of fuel products had all seen triple-digit increases. Next. Then on the 3rd of December 2016, 4 days before the December 7, 2016 polls, Dr. Bawumia said to the taxi and trotro driver who has been hit by high cost of fuel and insurance, you have a chance to vote, to hashtag vote for change. Next. I mean, decision to increase price of fuel is sensitive. We can go on and on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is to just remind you of some of the things the MPP said in opposition about fuel prices, so that we can situate this conversation in the right context. So like I said, the MPP, led by their then presidential candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and vice presidential candidate Dr. Bawumia, lambasted and berated President Mahama for the price of fuel at the time, which was 16 Ghana cedis per gallon, and promised to scrap some taxes on petroleum products, particularly ESLA and the special petroleum tax, so as to significantly reduce the price of fuel. I am sure you would recall how the MPP in their 2016 manifesto described ESLA as a nuisance tax and promised to scrap same when elected. Unfortunately, many Ghanaians fell for these lies and voted for the MPP. But little did they know that this and other similar sugar-coated promises of the MPP were pure sophistry. Instead of scrapping ESLA, as promised, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government has collateralized it for a loan, which has extended its intended duration from 5 years to 15 years and increased it by over 20%. As if that was not enough, this government introduced a new energy sector levy of 20 pesos on every liter of diesel and petrol just this year, 2021. Additionally, they have introduced a baller tax on petrol and diesel, 10 pesos per liter. As a result of these new tax measures, another increases in existing taxes. So not only have they introduced new taxes on fuel prices, but they have also increased the existing ones they promised to scrap or reduced. Now, some of these existing taxes they have increased include the increase of the bust margin from 3 pesos to 9 pesos per liter, representing an increase of 200%. The increase in the fuel market margin from 3 pesos to 5 pesos, representing an increase of 67%. The increase in the road fund levy from 41 pesos to 46 pesos. And as a result of these increases in existing taxes, introduction of new, unnecessary, and nuisance taxes, a gallon of petrol and diesel, which was sold at 16 Ghana cedis per gallon in December 2016, is today selling at 31 Ghana cedis, almost double the price they berated the NDC Mahama administration for. It is therefore clear from the foregoing facts that a high increase in the prices of fuel products we have witnessed in recent time is largely as a result of the many draconian taxes and tax increases this government has callously introduced on fuel. That is a major contributing factor. And so when I hear people saying that, oh, NDC people, what would you have done differently? Even if Mahama was in office, the price of fuel would have still gone up. Please, if Mahama was in office, there wouldn't have been any baller tax on the price of fuel. There wouldn't have been any 20 pesos new ESLA, or even like energy sector levy, on the price of fuel. Elections, they say, have consequences. And so let's not create the impression that all leaders or all political parties are the same. I am telling you on authority that if President Mahama was in office, we wouldn't have introduced these draconian tax measures at a go on the prices of fuel in this year when many businesses are still battling the negative impact of COVID. And so the price of fuel would have been far cheaper if the NDC and President Mahama were in office today. Friends from the media, this astronomical increment in the prices of fuel commodities by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government and its concomitant effects on transport fares have led to steep increases in general prices of goods and services, thereby making life unbearable for the vast majority of Ghanaians. And when we talk about prices going up, we are not just talking but Umia used to do when he used to visit the Malata market before his economic lectures. We also went to Malata and Makola markets a few days ago. This, bear in mind, was before the latest increment in the prices of fuel. And if you take a cursory look at the construction industry, with focus on the prices of building materials, you will see that it reveals a very worrying trend, which is a major concern for many Ghanaians today. A 50 kg bag of cement that was sold at 27 Ghana cedis in the year 2016 is being sold at 52 Ghana cedis today, and even in some cases above that price. A ton of iron rods, 16 iron rods, that was sold at about 2,800 Ghana cedis in 2016 is today selling 5,300 Ghana cedis. While a packet of aluminium roofing sheets that was sold at about 120 Ghana cedis is being sold at about 1,200 cedis today. Similarly, PVC pipes, the 20 PVC pipe that used to sell at about 3 Ghana cedis in 2016 is today being sold at 8 Ghana cedis. Electrical cables, that is the 16 cable metal, that used to sell at 700 Ghana cedis in 2016 is today selling at 1,553 Ghana cedis. While the 1.5 millimeter cable metal, which used to sell at 78 Ghana cedis, is today selling at 167 Ghana cedis. See most of you doing but I mean, we are just scratching the surface of the problem. So relax. Distinguished friends, the situation is even more dire in the case of food products, where a bag of maize that sold at 120 Ghana cedis in 2016 is today being sold at 450 Ghana cedis. While a cup of beans, the margarine cup of beans, that used to sell in 2016 is today being sold at 5 Ghana cedis. Also, an unloka of Gary that used to sell at 5 Ghana cedis in 2016 is today selling at 12 Ghana cedis. While a bucket of onions that used to sell at 15 Ghana cedis in 2016 is selling at 40 Ghana cedis currently. Also, a bag of sachet water that used to sell at 1 cedi 50 pesos in 2016 is today selling at 4 Ghana cedis. While a sack of kukunte that was sold at 200 Ghana cedis in 2016, while a sack of kukunte that was sold 200 Ghana cedis in 2016 is being sold at a whopping 600 Ghana cedis today. Again, a pound of cow meat that was sold at 9 Ghana cedis in 2016 is today being sold at 17 Ghana cedis. While one chicken broiler that used to sell at 35 Ghana cedis is today being sold at 70 Ghana cedis. And women are here. If I'm lying, you can bear that out. And we will make this script available to you, and we expect you to fact check everything we have said. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, a bottle of fried tall oil that used to sell at 130 Ghana cedis in 2016 is today selling at 285 Ghana cedis. Similarly, a crate of eggs that used to sell at 12 Ghana cedis in 2016 is today selling at a whopping 26 Ghana cedis, just to mention a few. And like I said, we gathered these prices before the latest increment. And so our projections are that from Monday going, next week going, the prices will go up again. This picture looks scary for many Ghanaian families and households. as it has become a constant struggle for many Ghanaians to afford 3 square meals a day. The reality is that time tough, the system is hard, and pockets are dry. Car owners are suffering, taxi drivers are suffering, trotro drivers are suffering, trotro mates are suffering, Uber drivers are suffering, bus drivers are suffering, passengers are suffering, journalists are suffering, and Ghanaians in general are suffering. Sadly, the state of economic hardships and hopelessness in the country keeps worsening by the day with no end in sight. All as a result of the insensitive and bad leadership of the deceptive Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government. The question we would want to ask President Akufo-Addo and his 419 Jokla Vice President Dr. Bawumia is, what has happened to their much-touted promise to move Ghana from taxation to production when elected? What has happened to their campaign rhetoric that Ghanaians were being overtaxed by President Mahama and their promise to develop Ghana through tax incentives? It bears reminding ourselves that in the run-up to the 2016 general elections, these masters of political chicanery, President Akufo-Addo himself, ably assisted by Dr. Bawumia, told Ghanaians in the Akan language that yet sikaso and so come there. To which Ghanaians were sitting on money, yet we were starving. Now, the question we ought to be asking is, where is the money they claimed we're sitting on? You would further recall, ladies and gentlemen, that in the run-up to the 2020 general elections, these same two people, Dr. Bawumia and President Akufo-Addo, asked the good people of Ghana to give them 4 more years to do 4 more for them. Is the imposition of draconian taxes on Ghanaians, which has led to persistent increases in fuel, with this concomitant, effects on general prices and cost of living, what they meant by 4 more years or 4 more to do more. Today, Ghana's economy is in shambles. Our national currency, the Ghana cedi, continues to depreciate at a very alarming rate against all the major international currencies, while government continues to cook fictitious economic figures to paint a different picture. The US dollar, which used to trade with the cedi at about 4 Ghana cedis to $1, as of December 2016, is today trading with the cedi at about 6.2. That is 6 cedis, 20 pesos to $1. This situation continues to erode profit margins and capital of businesses, particularly importers, and is one of the major factors which are contributing to the escalation of fuel prices and the prices of general goods on the market, most of which are imported. Yet, the Vice President and head of the economic management team, who was once touted by the NPP as the economic messiah, is nowhere to be found. What is even sad in all this, friends from the media, is that instead of focusing on the stabilization of the national currency and the introduction of economic measures that can provide relief to our people, the government has chosen the lazy and callous option of shifting all the burden on Ghanaians in order to finance their opulent lifestyle. In the midst of hardships and economic difficulties, at a time public sector workers have been given a paltry 4% increase in their salaries, President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia have chosen to live luxuriously like Arabian kings at the expense of the already burdened Ghanaian taxpayer. There is no gainsaying the fact that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government is the luckiest and the most resourced government in Ghana's history. They have borrowed more than any government in our history and have had access to revenue from 3 oil fields, No government has ever had that. In addition to that, they've had access to tax revenue of over 157 billion Ghana cedis in only 4 years. That excludes tax revenue for 2021. 157 billion, which is almost double the tax revenue John Mahama got in 4 years, which was just 83 billion Ghana cedis. In addition to that, President Mahama left them a Ghana Investment Infrastructure Fund with $200 million in it. President Mahama left them a sinking fund with $500 million in it to pay the 750 million euro bond President Kufuor issued in 2000. Mahama left them Exim Bank. He left them a stabilization fund which had over $200 million in it. Yet, this government has next to nothing to show relative to developmental projects. They cannot point to one secondary school they have built for the people of this country, not one hospital they have built, not one airport they have built, not a single meaningful project they have done that has created jobs and improved the lives of Ghanaians. Instead of investing in the productive sectors of the economy, they have virtually wasted all these resources on consumption, profligacy, and corruption. Their misplaced priorities are the bane of the ailing Ghanaian economy and the main reason why Ghanaians are suffering in a manner never seen in our history. It is instructive to note that in the midst of persistent fuel price increases and ever-rising cost of living, financial allocations to the office of the president have galloped from 79 million Ghana cedis in 2017 to 823 million Ghana cedis in 2021, representing a rise of 937%. And what is this money being used for? Is it being used for productive projects and programs that can stimulate the economy, create jobs, and improve the livelihoods of Ghanaians? The answer is a big no. Rather, all these monies are being applied mainly to financing luxurious foreign travels of President Akufo-Addo in hyper-expensive private jets, which sometimes cost the Ghanaian taxpayer as much as $20 per hour. And why are they doing this? Because the president wants to fulfill his childhood fantasy of bathing in the skies. In the last 3 months alone, the taxes of suffering Ghanaians worth 10 million Ghana cedis, equivalent to 100 billion Ghana cedis, 100 billion old Ghana cedis, have been wasted by government on renting hyper-expensive private jets for President Akufo-Addo when he went to Europe, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. This was after they wasted a whopping 64 million Ghana cedis, equivalent to 640 billion old Ghana cedis, in 9 months alone in 2019 on similar foreign travels of the president. Sadly, this is happening at a time our state presidential jets, the Dassault Falcon 900EX, which was bought with our taxes by President Kufuor at a cost of $45 million in 2008, is available and in fact in a pristine condition. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, let us put aside our partisanship and think as Ghanaians and imagine the developmental projects these monies could have been used for in the health sector, or in the education sector, or in the road sector, or in the energy sector, among others, for the benefit of the people, if government has set its priorities right and shown a modicum of sensitivity to the plight of suffering masses. If Akufo-Addo had cut his coat according to health, imagine the savings would have made. Today you hear all manner of comical excuses for this wanton dissipation of taxpayers' money. That though the president is renting luxurious jets at a cost of sometimes $20,000 per hour, $14,000 per hour. Why? Because our president has become so tall that when he sits in the Falcon 900, which is one of the best presidential jets in Africa, he's become so tall that he cannot stretch his legs. Yet, George Oponwia, the president of Liberia, has become so short that he can sit in these same jets and travel around with it. Even in the energy sector, ladies and gentlemen, the corrupt Akufo-Addo administration continued to plunder the assets of state-owned enterprises such as the Tama Oil Refinery, BOST, GMPC, among others. I'm sure you have heard about the brazen and unprecedented thievery that is going on at Tor currently, where 105,927 liters of gas oil, 18 drums of electrical cables, and other valuable assets, 42 million Ghana cedis, that is 420 billion OCDs, have all vanished into thin air. Yet, this corrupt and wasteful government continues to demand more revenue from suffering Ghanaians through the imposition of draconian taxes on prices of fuel, with its ripple effects on cost of living. Friends, we think, and I believe you will agree with us, that it is the height of insensitivity and the monumental betrayal of the trust of the Ghanaian people for President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia, who promised to protect the public purse, to turn around and engage in this obscene and unprecedented plunder of sin, while at the same time inflicting severe hardships on Ghanaians. It is very offensive for the president, his vice, and other government functionaries to continue to display such odious ostentation, particularly at this time that majority of Ghanaians are suffering and cannot make ends meet. And it is about time we told them that we, the people of this country, are no longer willing to pay for their opulent lifestyles. We in the NDC are not in the least surprised that dishonest President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia are being exposed time and again for the many lies they rode on into power. This is because we have always known that even though a campaign of deceitful promises can bring one into power, their true character will always expose them in the fullness of time. Lies, they say, have a short lifespan. So in conclusion, the NDC wishes to add its voice to the call by well-meaning Ghanaians for government to set up and stabilize the Ghana cedi through prudent economic management so as to stabilize fuel prices and the prices of imported products in general. More importantly, we wish to call on the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government to scrap some of the unnecessary taxes they have heaped on the price build-up of petroleum products so as to drastically reduce same. We hold the view that the 2-month suspension or zero rating of the stabilization and recovery levy of 14 pesos and 16 pesos per liter of diesel and petrol respectively is wholly inadequate, insufficient, and cannot bring about any significant reduction in the current prices of fuel products. In fact, the fact that the price of a gallon of diesel and petrol has increased by close to 10 Ghana cedis in this year 2021 alone, it is an insult to the sensibilities of suffering Ghanaians for government to offer to reduce the price of fuel by a paltry 63 pesos, which is the net effect of the zero rating of the stabilization and recovery levy government has announced. We therefore wish to call on the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government to, as a matter of urgency, scrap 1, the special petroleum tax of 46 pesos on a liter of diesel and petrol. It will be recalled that the special petroleum tax was introduced by the ex-Wal NDC Mahama administration sometime in 2016 when crude oil export price fell far below government's budgetary projections. The objective was to shore up government revenue for development purposes. Crude oil prices have increased from below $40 to over $80 per barrel in recent time, far above government's budgetary projection of $54 per barrel, it is untenable for government to still maintain this tax, a special petroleum tax on petroleum products now. And same should be scrapped without further delay. This is particularly so when government's revenue from the oil sector for the second quarter of this year, 2021, went up by almost 60%, equivalent to $89.1 million, as compared to oil revenue for the same period in the previous year. In the same vein, we call on government to scrap the newly introduced taxes on fuel products, such as the energy sector levies of 20 pesos on a liter of diesel and petrol, and the new sanitation levy, boiler tax of 10 pesos on a liter of diesel and petrol, as same is totally needless and useless. We also demand that the new increase of 18 pesos on a kilogram of LPG must be scrapped by the government. And finally, we wish to call on government to consider the review of other existing taxes on fuel products in line with proposals submitted to the Ministry of Finance and Energy by the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, and other stakeholders in the downstream petroleum sector. Distinguished friends from the media, these demands are not born out of cheap politics or partisanship, but the realities we presently find ourselves in, and are intended for the collective good and welfare of all Ghanaians. We wish to remind President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia to respect and uphold the sanctity of their political pact with the Ghanaian electorate. The Ghanaian people did not bargain for this level of tax burden on the prices of petroleum products in the 2020 December 7 polls. Governance at all times must be about the advancements of the collective good and not the narrow interest of a select few. This government has become far removed from the stark realities of the Ghanaian people, and it is about time they got back on track. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we project that if government listens to us and does as we have advised, the come down drastically. This will stabilize the ever-rising prices of general goods and services and go a long way to ameliorate the sufferings of Ghanaians. But should government fail to heed our advice, as they often do, or should I say, as they always do, the prices of general goods and services will continue to soar. Hardships in the country will continue to worsen to gargantuan levels, irrespective of your political affiliations, except the privileged ones in government. All of us will continue to suffer. Because when you go to Total or Shell today, both NDC, MPP, CPP, all Ghanaians buy from the same purse. And so what we are talking about, just an NDC position, but it is something that will benefit all Ghanaians if done. As you do know, the last quarter of the year usually presents an opportunity for many to turn around their economic fortunes as we prepare for the Yuletide. However, given the persistent increases in fuel prices we are witnessing today and the ever skyrocketing prices of goods on the market, it looks like we are heading for the worst Christmas ever for the Ghanaian. We cannot allow the hardships we are experiencing to continue. We demand that things are changed by the government, and that change must happen now. Thank you very much for your attention. Okay, so because of the 3 stations streaming this press conference live, particularly UTV and other 3 stations, I will just do a very quick summary in the 3 language, but I will plead with all of you to maintain order in the auditorium, because this aspect of the presentation is also very important. And so if you can keep your cameras in position, I'll be most grateful for that. Indeed, abusuafo ya to yensa frem. Ene enkomo a ye frem say ye ba bidi no efa petrol ni diesel a ne bo akosora ma enne Ghana fo ekomubu na ma ahokyere a yenhu bi da aba beto timamufoɔ so ɛkame ayɛ sɛ ɔmampanyin Akufo-Addo ne na bedi akyi Dr. Bawomi ati akonnwa so no ɛnyɛ adeɛ a ɔmo tema ɛma Ghanafoɔ sɛna yɛn nyinaa yɛnim na nnora ya aban na san so ato petrol ni diesel buo mu biem by 7% ama ene petrol ni diesel gallon baako boɔ edu 31 Ghana cedis na we ye empre enkono a afi we mu nko aban ato petrol ni diesel bom ifiti afi ase na ye top petrol eni diesel gallon baako be se 22 Ghana cedis ene edu 31 cedis na say in only 10 months no be 10 Ghana cedis na aban we dia ka petrol eni diesel bo na obebisa se die nti na abasa impempi no aban no dada Ghana for se o eya mansa dwabo a ye de to fanwo e na akosoro nti na amana basa international market price na akosoro but abusuafo ene ye chire mama Ghana fo nyina ate ase se enye international market price per se e na ama fanwo bo ehuri akosoro sa na emom eye nyema mienu baako eye eto a aban we asesa agu petrol ni diesel bo so ena de toso mienu eye ye sika Ghana cedi na ene atete apansamo a ama dollar na te praga kwakodu 6 series 20 pesos no eno ka ho bi eye sa nyema mensen ene determine petrol bo amansen dwa so bo no exchange rate because petrol na ye togu ye ka mu yusu ni Ghana na ye kokra it is a dollar kosra petrol bo be kosro saa so na petrol ni ye kokra ba aban de to ogu so it is a to ne kosra petrol bo be kosro it e ma obi anada wo se e ya mansen dwabo e na ama petrol bo akoso e ye to na ene dollar na akosro akodu 6 series 20 pesos no na se wo hwa afiye 2021 ya Ghana COVID-19 ti businesses bebre adwuma aba form na kwa mama bi so a aban ahodo a wotema etete nyema so se na be ya wo manfo ho be henhan wo o mampanyin Akufo-Addo nko a de taxes be miensa e na ato petrol so or the 20 pesos energy sector levy na ni ho oba e no de aba 20 pesos energy sector levy or they ato every liter of diesel and petrol na just a gallon bia no 20 pesos times 4.5 more than 1 cedi and or the ato so and on nanche no or the two bi aba yenti bi mpanyin senda your friend of baller tax of 10 pesos per liter nti eno so o peso hu bi o the ato so per gallon and or multiply no by 4.5 because 4.5 liters make 1 gallon and on nanche no wakofa COVID levy 1% ato NHI so 1% ato VAT so a omo yes afa nwadwuma no OMC so eno so aka wo taxes that die that petrol so a oka say oba be ye free wo so no oba ye watoto ni nyina mu esla president Mahama de ba say yenjeje na yemfa ntua e car e wo ye power sector na timi aboa me yatudum so ase am ye nya kani a e betimi agina so president Mahama nhihye ye mu no o ye sesa ato no Ghana for ye betua no mfie numpe MPP for opposition omo kan say president Mahama timu eden enu nti no de sa ato na ba no omo de omo ba omo betwam esan say tax na faso bia ndi so omo kan say e nuisance tax enso abusuafo omo ba ye tax no omo de akosi awo akwaje bosia ama de e wo say nki etua no mfie num no ene ye de mfie dum 15 years na betua omo wie ye no anso ha omo san so atum 20% and on my son so the 20 pesos abe. That's why a friend of bust margin. Or my tomb from 3 pesos to 9 pesos, 200% increments. And on chain, that's why a friend of full market margin. Or my tomb from 3 pesos to 5 pesos. That's why a friend of road fund levy, add that petrol need diesel so, or my tomb 41 pesos to 46 pesos. Ena omuni mama muosu ntino na ne Dr. Bawumia o position na why no so onim bibia e basika semo a ene wadwane afri economy akọ digitization no enti ene dollar adu 6 cedis 20 pesos e sa taxes yi ni dollar na akosoro no e na ama petrol bo adu ba bi adu no and we ye nyema aban wo so control aka aban betimi aye ho bibi na so mu nitimenti no o ma decide se ya no wo be ye no enti ene ukodwomu a uton wa yento ufiri a yentua wodo nsa hye obotom so ensi hwe so esan se enyema bo akosoro cement a na yeto bag ba ko 27 Ghana cedis in 2016 and na yeto no 52 Ghana cedis baby kura no 54 cedis. Iron rods a na yeto 1 ton 2800 Ghana cedis no and na yeto no 5300 cedis. And chance here, the board down so near to 1 packet, 520 cedis, 2016, and near Mahamatino. And they to 1 packet, now 1,300 cedis. PVC pipes are DC Diane. Yane Mahamate, near tobacco 3 cedis, no, and near tobacco 8 cedis. Electrical cables, put the bobo. Cable metal, a 16 na. 2016, tobacco 700 cedis, no, and near tobacco 1,553 cedis. We share aduane a ebo na kosoro boom 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 yen ka se nkema ebo nkosoro ye bo brako yanim ade achi ade sen nyema bo be kosoro ba mo hwe mpompon so anyema ne bo ye den e kosoro 200% 150% bia above 100% ne yemi se sika e baga na fo nsam no akosoro sa na enti ye purchasing power no aye weak enu nti na ama krom aye den no we hwe aduane a aburo bag ne yeto ba ko 170 Ghana cedis ye nim se omo planting for food and jobs omo de aduan yasumi anti na aburabu nti aduane bu anka aduane bo ba fo as when aburu bag no adu 450 Ghana cedis from 170 to 450 Ghana cedis. Beans margarine konku no ba ko every 1 cedi 50 pesos adu 5 cedis. Gari oloka every 5 cedis in 2016 adu 12 Ghana cedis in 2021. Jenny bucket baako paint bucket no baako a free 15 Ghana cedis in 2016 to 40 cedis. Sachet water a free 1 cedi 50 pesos to 4 cedis. Konkonta ya de abetie so a free 200 Ghana cedis per bag and do 600 Ghana cedis. Nantwinam 1 pound 2016 and near Mahamatie na 9 Ghana cedis and they do 17 cedis. Akoko nam broiler na 35 Ghana and ne do 70 Ghana cedis. Se me bobo so a ade be kyen ha. Enu nti sanye me ya ne bo akosoro bum 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 bumi. Ama man ni mo aye den. Ghana fo bre Ghana fo si apene. Sa anti beki ene ya mama Samira tumi ene o manya nti o mu num se baby anyema bo aduru no no. Enu nti ene trotro drivers isu, car owners isu, Uber drivers isu. And some trouble for isu Ghana fo nyina isu because kromo ayehye. And asemu aye bi so mampenye kufu ado ne se ono ne ka kire yen se obe move on minor free taxation to production because Ghana for taxes are yitua no edoso dodo. The taxes bebrebe ya wasese gu petrol bo so a ena ma petrol bo kosoro na ebu yekomi efiri hefa. Ono a ne ka kire yen se ya tisika so so ekom de ene se sika no e wo hefa. Etoso bi mo no a ne ka kire se yen to abama no for more to do more. Ye bisa ne se for more to do more no. Eno ne petrol ni diesel na ene gallon ba ko do 31 Ghana cedi na na. Abusuafo enyema mu ayeden na ye ka cha aban ni nyina ne se aban e wo ho se obesom omanfo because omanfo ni wa aban ni ho tu ya aban na won hyehye ye de akokire beto omanfo so a na je se osom na wo som no enye sompa enti omanpenya kufu adu ntie Ghana fo sum na ontete petrol and diesel bo so taxes bebrebe boiler tax esla 20 pesos, LPG awatum 18 pesos per kilogram only free ho. Na new taxes crop because on be free what is a special petroleum tax. Special petroleum tax your mama de buy because some no na man say bia so boa ye de to oil na ba from below $40. Enti Ghana ye oil na ye tu ni wa ha no. O de kwa man say bia so koton a unya sika kakra bi. Aban ye sika o de be ye mpuntu. And President Mahama said, the special petroleum tax about for 2 years. Muntia, na petrol board on amanse gaso kostra, na ye nyesika, ye fuel. And then muba petrol board no, a free $40, I could do $80, a chemu $80. Sika na mo rese mu benya free oil na ye tumuno. Akosro boom 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 boom. Second quarter of 2021 kwa munya $89 million. Sika na mwini na so se mubenya. Just second quarter. This is sika kwa mwenya in excess of their projection from oil this year. It is special petroleum tax na that's what that oil day. So it is a binding years anyama we free wa. Ebema petrol bo aba form na petrol bo so ba form one. And nam sa ade bia e wodwa so ye de fa kind ni nyama bo be ba form. Ama Ghana for one han. Na no no we NDC ni o MPP o. Ubenya so mfa so. Ti asem na ye ka no e ye omanfo ne Ghana fo ye yo enu ti ne ye ka. Na de twa to ye se de ye ya ene se a enu mpo ne ma ne ehu hia se aban be yi taxes we free one se. Aban we ye se oba ye onya sika o. Sika de wanya bi pa. Wo hwe Ghana bakosemu a ban bia ni wa wanya sika e chen aban we. Omo ba ye oma bobosia chen aban bia wo Ghana bakosemu. Mba na Ghana kaya 120 billion cedis. And they almost do 336 billion. Omo di 216 billion na Ghana ka. Ti na oche Ghana ma Ghana fu nyina akora keto aye wo ne kora de ka 11,000 cedis. Bosia nko ano no. Oil President Kofu nya one failed, Jubilee fails. President Mills nya one fails. John Mahama nya one failed. And no hu sika no mo jejede ye o man ye. Omampenya Kufu Addo nko anya oil fails miensa. Jubilee fails plus 10 Sankofa fails. Into oil sika wenya no aban bi anya bi. Taxes so ono nko anya 157 billion Ghana cedis. President Mahama in 4 years anya 83 billion. Into ono nko anya almost double in taxes. At the end of the sika na ye. Omo si one secondary school kra, omo si one asopiti. Omo nye adwuma papa bia wo krom ha. Ebetumi di adwuma ne ahoto aba krom ha. Na ma tese ken oforiata se public sector okra na yema nti se wo wie school a fa wa wo destiny hye wo nsem na kopa adwuma bi ye na aban ti mi ma wadwuma. Yet enche ye kra omo se for more to do more. You see, enti say ye na taxes ya modi agu petrol so mo jejede aya kwan mo jejede aya nsuo ho adwuma asopiti ni schools na ye yi double track afri ho na no best syndrome ye yi afri wa enkenya Ghana for ya na wo jeje ye taxes enu nti ama petrol bu akosoro wo je tax na wo de high private jets because o pese wo dware wo wiem don hwere ba ku bia Ghana bo ho ka $20,000 $14,000 in only 3 months yeah twemi o we car ya bo no on a trip or call no US UK any Europe ya bo ho ka 10 million cedis titisika no 100 billion 2019 in only 9 months private jet sensem ya o Ghana sika nko 64 million cedis ne say no ho that's equivalent to 640 billion adan no mampenye Kufu Addo odi Ghana brosa say jet ne ye ni bi kura ke beti ase eso ye wo bi ye de Ghana fo sika atobi president Kufu na de toy $45 million enye hwe and ye friend that sort Falcon 900 no and they ose ono de na show boy ono onye wimfo te say president Mahama ne president Mills nti Falcon no emunya ne fe onfa ntukwan nti ono de opede adware wom ti ope Boeing 737 ti plane di nkra ope Airbus ACJ 320 new de ne bo eden only even a life set wimfo adan ya o say owa ne nan wo wa nti otene ne na mu kra na anye bia enye sa jet ya na president Mahama di tukwan president Mahama tie konwa so na okọ UN General Assembly meeting bia or fly commercial or the British Airways na di because info into your cutting quotes according to the size. Or lead by example. Now, see, President Akufo-Addo UN General Assembly. Namibia President Oba, or did the same, that's all for 900 ne buy. Onumpo the idea, almost 20 years. And Sana Ghana. I can see from your faces that you don't have any questions for me, because even Parker is not looking at my face today. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you very much.